Today on the menu is a ratatouille. It's very rustic, it's delicious, and it uses the vegetables of the season, even late summer, early fall. We're gonna make this all, you're gonna serve it up, you're gonna enjoy it because it's so good. Let's make it. If you haven't made ratatouille, you may have seen versions of it. It can be a beautiful dish. It's really a simple kind of rustic French Provençal dish. And what that means is it uses really great seasonal produce. I think it's perfect for the end of summer when maybe you still have lots of, or your CSA or farmer's market has lots of zucchini, eggplant, tomatoes, and all of it comes together in a very quick dish that has a lot of flavor. You can serve it as a side. You can really serve it as a main dish if you want to. It can even be almost an appetizer with some good crusty bread. So what I'm doing is getting ready some onions, and I'm just gonna slice them because we're gonna make just a quick kind of, it's not a tomato sauce, but it just is like a flavor enhancer that goes underneath all of these vegetables that we're gonna put on top. So I have my onion, I have a little bit of olive oil that's been heating. I like to get a little bit warm. And what I wanna do is let this, do you hear that? I love when you put it on, it has that sizzle. We're actually gonna put it into a skillet that is then going to build the whole dish and go right into the oven. So I'm gonna let this go till it gets translucent and we're just gonna build flavor. I'm finishing up a decent amount of garlic because this is really gonna flavor this dish. So it's a really simple rustic dish in that you are getting these vegetables of the season that are ripe, which that's how they have flavor, right? And then you wanna add though this base layer in. So you can see those onions have turned translucent. We're gonna add that beautiful garlic, which instantly is going to just warm up from that oil. We don't wanna burn the garlic, that's why we're adding it now. And then we need to add, of course, salt. All those vegetables are gonna need salt. We're gonna add some pepper, just freshly cracked, and some dried Italian seasoning. And the reason now I'm doing dried is we're going into a different season where maybe we don't always have fresh in our gardens or at home, but we do have dried, which is made from in-season herbs. So I'm gonna mix this in, let that warm through, and instantly, this is blooming those herbs, that garlic I smell. That's all you really wanna do so you don't overcook that garlic. And then we just add in crushed tomatoes. Now I use fire roasted just because I think it ups that flavor, but you can do whatever you can find. And I'm just gonna add them all right in, and I'm gonna let this simmer while we prepare all those vegetables. The sauce is just about done. It's been simmering, and what I'm doing is just getting the vegetables ready. So you can see here what I have is tomatoes, and I use a plum or Roma variety because they're more meaty, I think more flavor, they hold up better. Zucchini, medium sized. You're trying to use about the same size as everything. So I went out and I just picked some more eggplant because I wanted them to be roughly the same size. Eggplant do oxidize and turn brown pretty quickly. Don't let that worry you, it will still be fine. So you can also use a Japanese eggplant, which is more of a finger variety, which will be a little bit more narrow. Mine weren't quite ready for today, so I'm using these and just cutting them to the size or picking them young so I can fit them in. So that's the beauty of this. You're using what you have, and usually at the end of a season, you start having certain things, maybe you've canned, preserved, made most dishes you wanna make, and now you can just use up all these things. So what I'm doing is having them all ready. We're gonna pull off this beautiful sauce, which I'll show you. It's gorgeous. And this is my oven-safe skillet. It gets hot everywhere, so make sure you use something. You can also put this into a dish. You could pour this now into another dish that would be the same size. But do you see how this thickens just slightly? It kind of cooks off some of that excess water that would be on it. So this is our flavorful sauce that's gonna be underneath. And you know what? No one is gonna tell if you just wanna taste it a little bit. That is so good. So much flavor. That garlic really adds something, so I'm just gonna even it out there. And now I'm gonna start assembling. There's really no rhyme or reason. If you want to try to have a pattern, you could go every other. So you could start just assembling a little bit in your hand if you want. I think that can be an easy, quick way. And you can see I'm picking every other. You're not always gonna have the same size of everything, and that's okay. Don't worry about that. But then once you have, you can start kind of your mix, and what we're gonna do is just work this upright. See how they're all sitting upright? We're gonna work this all the way around the dish into the center, and we're just gonna finish it with a couple items, and then it goes right into the oven. I'm finishing up, and you can see, I like mine to be whole pieces lined up. I think it's very traditional, but I think it's fun. There are some chopped up versions. I think they kind of look muddy and just not as fun. So I do it like this. And I've had to tell myself, I had to come up with a little song the whole time I was doing it because I stacked them in my hand and I kept forgetting. So I just knew it was eggplant, tomato, zucchini, eggplant, tomato, zucchini. You don't have to do it like that. And it doesn't have to be the same. You could do multiple pieces of the same beside each other if you have more of one. But you can see now, look how beautiful this looks. So I finished this with a little bit of olive oil drizzled around because these are gonna cook outside of that sauce. So this just adds a little bit of flavor, a little bit of kind of perfection at the end. I'm gonna sprinkle on a little bit more Italian seasoning. That's just going to obviously cook into it as it really kind of bakes in the oven, because that's now the point. So we're adding again that wonderful ability of summer flavor, but in fall and winter if you wanna use it. That's why I love dried herbs. You don't have to think of them as in a bad way. You can dry your own too. And then a little bit here of salt. So I sprinkle that on too, just to make sure those vegetables are seasoned. That sauce was seasoned, but we also wanna make sure the vegetables are seasoned. So we're gonna put that all over the top. And now, to make sure it bakes, because they're whole vegetables, we will cover it, and then partway through, we're gonna uncover it and make sure we can finish that cooking with a little bit of cheese on top, because that's the point here. So we're gonna start that cooking to make sure it's really gonna cook down and soften all those vegetables. Make sure I can touch it off the stove here for a while, and then you'll see it soon. When the vegetables are slightly tender but not quite done, just remove the foil cover and sprinkle some fresh Parmesan cheese right on top. Place it right back in the oven, and this is when it finishes tenderizing and really bakes on that cheese. So this came out of the oven. I let it sit just a little bit so it doesn't, burn you to oblivion. Now, of course, you could put some fresh parm right on it again if you want to. You could also tear some basil. I have some fresh garden basil. You can tear little bits of that. I would just tear it on right before you serve it to keep the color and everything, but it's really whatever you want. And that's what's beautiful about making these dishes at home. You can make them work for you, and then you just serve them up. So I'll take maybe one out of a little bit of everything here, one of each. And you can see, look underneath it, that beautiful sauce that's there. That is why I have this bread, because you can also serve that sauce with it, and you can just like sop it up. Guys, it is so good. I wish you could smell it. This is one of those things where I wish we had smell-o-vision. What I like is the vegetables retain some texture, so they don't just like fall apart completely. Obviously the tomatoes get a little softer, but they have flavor from that beautiful. I'm just gonna take a little bit of this bread just so we can test that delicious sauce right underneath. Like, look at that. Garlic and tomato. That's so good. This is a great dish. What I like is, it's really a casserole in a way. Slightly different from the Midwest hot dishes I'm used to. But what I like is it's fresh, it's delicious, it's healthy, and it's something you can serve with so many things. Think of grilled chicken on the side. Think of all the things you can do with this, and you can make it at home, and it looks beautiful. So what do I hope you do? I hope you enjoy it. I hope you make it. I hope you share this video around so other people can see this is easy. If I can do it, anybody can do it. Check my website, wyseguide.com, for this full recipe where you can print it off, go back to it as much as you want. Until next time, I hope you can enjoy the season to the fullest. That's what this is all about.